I never thought family could feel like a loaded gun pressed to your temple. But that's exactly what it was when I walked back into that house after 8 years behind bars. The air smelled of pot roast and betrayal, thick enough to choke on. And in that split second, as my brother's words hung like smoke, I knew the revenge I'd been simmering in a 6x8 cell was about to boil over. And no one, not him, not our blood-soaked secrets, would walk away clean. My name is Isla Harper, and the last time I tasted freedom, it was laced with the metallic tang of regret. That dinner was supposed to be a truce, a tentative bridge over the chasm my brother, Ethan, had blasted between us. We'd grown up in Elmwood, Ohio, a Rust Belt town where the factories coughed out dreams as black as the coal dust on Dad's work boots. Mom died when I was 12, cancer eating her from the inside like it had a grudge, leaving Ethan and me to fend off the world with nothing but each other's jagged edges. He was 2 years older, the golden boy with the easy grin and the football scholarship that never quite panned out. I was the fixer, the one who patched leaks in the roof with duct tape and balanced the checkbook when Dad's bourbon breath made numbers swim. But that was before the heist. Before the safe house in Cleveland where everything went to hell. Ethan had always been the schemer, whispering big-score dreams in the dead of night while I nodded along, too loyal to call bullshit. "It's just one job, Isla," he'd said, his eyes gleaming like polished chrome under the motel neon. In and out. We split the take, pay off the house, start fresh in California. The target was a jewelry wholesaler, high-end stuff, insured to the gills. Low risk, he'd sworn, because his buddy from the docks, Marco Ruiz, had the inside line. Marco, with his snake tattoos and perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, was the kind of guy who made your skin crawl but your wallet sing. I didn't pull the trigger, hell. There was no trigger. It was smash and grab, ski masks, crowbars, a van idling in the alley like a getaway heartbeat. But when the alarm screamed and the cops swarmed, Ethan bolted like a jackrabbit, leaving me pinned under the shattered display case, diamonds scattering like guilty confetti. Marco took a bullet in the leg, non-fatal, the news said later, and pinned it all on me in his panic. It was her idea, he'd sobbed in the interrogation room, sweat beading on his forehead like lies. Ethan vanished into the ether, a ghost with my future in his pocket. They slapped me with armed robbery, conspiracy, the works. 8 years at the Ohio Reformatory for Women, where the days blurred into a gray haze of fluorescent lights and the distant wail of sirens. I lost my nursing certification, the one I'd scraped together night shifts for. Dad drank himself into an early grave while I was inside, muttering about families sticking together from his hospice bed. Ethan? He thrived. Sent postcards from Phoenix. All sunshine and vague apologies. Miss you, sis. Things are looking up. Looking up on my dime. As it turned out, parole came last spring. A bureaucratic mercy with strings. No booze. No cons. Weekly check-ins with a counselor who smelled like stale coffee and false hope. I crashed at a halfway house in Columbus, flipping burgers at a diner where the grease clung to your soul. But the letter started arriving, and signed it first, then bolder. He knows you're out. He's scared. From an old cellmate's cousin, a hacker kid who owed me for smuggling her smokes. Ethan was back in Elmwood, married now to some real estate shark named Vanessa, with a kid on the way and a brokerage firm bearing his name, Harper Homes. He'd laundered the heist money into down payments, flipped foreclosures into McMansions. The American dream, built on my bars. That's why I drove north that crisp October evening. The Ohio Turnpike unspooling like a vein under my rented Chevy's tires. Not for forgiveness, for the truth. For the reckoning. The house was the same split-level colonial Dad had mortgaged his lungs for. But spruced up, fresh siding. A Tesla in the drive that screamed, "I've made it." Vanessa answered the door. Her blonde bob impeccable. Yoga-toned arms folding like a barrier. "Isla? Oh my God." Ethan didn't say. She trailed off. Eyes flicking to my faded jeans and the thrift store jacket that screamed ex-con. But she let me in. Because that's what good Midwestern wives do. Polish the silver before the storm hits. The dining room glowed under a chandelier that cost more than my parole fees. Ethan at the head, carving the roast with surgical precision. His jawline sharper than I remembered. Salt and pepper hair giving him that silver fox gravitas. Little Emma, their 5-year-old, colored furiously at the kids' table. Oblivious. Vanessa poured Merlot. The bottle's label mocking me with its vineyard pretensions. Small talk first. Weather, shitty. The Buckeyes, undefeated. Dad's grave, weeds. Apparently. Then I leaned in, fork piercing a carrot like it owed me answers. So, the family reunion next month, Thanksgiving at Aunt Rita's. You sending regrets? Or? Ethan's knife paused mid-slice. The room held its breath. A vacuum of unspoken indictments. Vanessa busied herself with Emma's plate, but her shoulders tensed like bowstrings. Ethan set the knife down deliberately, wiped his mouth with the linen napkin crisp, starched, everything I wasn't, and met my eyes. His were the same hazel as mine, but colder now, forged in fires I'd never touched. You're not part of this anymore, Isla. The words landed like a gut punch, casual as passing the salt. That life's done. For all of us. Emma looked up, crayon mid-stroke. Aunt Isla, what's part of this mean? Daddy. Nothing. Peanut. Eat your peas. But his gaze never left mine, a challenge wrapped in brotherly concern. Vanessa cleared her throat, a diplomat's cough. Ethan. Honey. No. He cut her off, voice low, the kind that brooked no appeal. She made her choices. We moved on. Choices? The word ignited something primal, a spark in the dry tinder of my rage. I laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that echoed off the wainscoting. Moved on? With my cut from the job you dragged me into? The one where you left me holding the bag while you played Houdini. Vanessa's wine glass hit the table with a clink. Emma's eyes widened, the crayon snapping in her tiny fist. Ethan's face didn't crack, but I saw the flicker, the old tell, a twitch at the corner of his mouth when cornered. Ancient history, sis. Water under the bridge. You want to rehash? Fine. But not here. Not with my family. Your family. I echoed it, tasting bile. Like I'm the stray dog you kicked to the curb. He leaned back, arms crossing over his Brooks Brothers shirt. You were always the hothead, Isla. Charging in. No plan. I protected you, took the heat off by disappearing. Marco rolled over, because he had to. But you? You confessed to half of it, thinking it'd lighten your sentence. Noble. Sure. Stupid as hell. Lies. Layered like the lasagna cooling on my plate. I'd confessed to nothing, pleaded out on bad advice from a public defender who moonlighted as a golf caddy. But Ethan had coached Marco, fed him the script through burner phones I'd later trace in my cell block downtime. protected me, he'd buried me. The argument escalated, voices rising like floodwaters. Vanessa herded Emma upstairs, promising stories and no monsters under the bed. Ironic, given the one at the table. Ethan and I tore into each other, me accusing him of the forgery on Dad's will that left me zilch, him countering with tales of my wild phase, the bar fights and bad boyfriends he'd bailed me out of. Truth twisted like pretzels, each bite more bitter. By dessert, cheesecake from some artisanal bakery. Because of course, I was shaking, fork clattering against porcelain. You owe me, Ethan. Not just money. The years. The life. He stood, towering in that alpha way men do when they sense weakness. Oh, you? I built this from scratch. You want a piece? Earn it. Like everyone else in this godforsaken country, I left with the rain sheeting down, wipers slashing futilely against the downpour. But as I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, a plan crystallized, not the blunt instrument of prison yard fantasies, but something surgical. Ethan thought he'd won, erased me from the family ledger. But ledger's balance, brother. And mine was overdrawn in blood-red ink. Back at the halfway house, I fired up the ancient laptop they'd issued, monitored. Sure, but loopholes abound for those with time. First search, Harper Homes. Clean facade, eco-friendly builds. Community sponsor for the local Little League. Dig deeper, liens on 3 properties. Whispers of kickbacks from the city council. Ethan's fingerprints all over. Then Vanessa, linked in gold, top producer. But her emails, hacked via a phishing link I'd learned inside, revealed the cracks. She'd known about the heist, buried it under prenup clauses. Complicit. The kid? Innocent collateral. My counselor called it rumination. I called it reconnaissance. The reunion was a month away, neutral ground, Aunt Rita's sprawling farm outside Toledo, where cousins gathered like migratory birds, stuffing turkeys and skeletons back in closets. I'd go, uninvited. Crash the gate, metaphorically. Expose the rot, piece by glittering piece. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon through moral quicksand. As I lay awake that night, the house's thin walls pulsing with neighbors' arguments, I wondered, was Ethan the villain? Or was I the fool who'd trusted a serpent in brother's skin? The line blurred, but the fire didn't. It burned brighter, promising catharsis or catastrophe. The weeks blurred, shifts at the diner where truckers leered and tips were pity-scented, therapy sessions where I fed half-truths to keep the parole board happy. I reached out to Marco, located him in a Akron trailer park. Legs still gimpy, brewing micro beers that tasted like regret. He got to you first, Marco grunted over burner phones. Voice gravel from too many smokes. Paid me off. Said you'd take the fall noble-like. I had debts. Isla. Kids. Like Ethan's Emma, who deserved better than this genetic curse. Marco spilled more. The diamonds, fenced through a Chicago contact, seeded Ethan's empire. A safety deposit box in Cleveland, key still in Ethan's desk, proof. Photos. The works. You want it? It's yours. But careful.
Chica. He's got eyes now.
Private muscle.
Thin.
Paranoid kingpin.
It fueled me.
I bought a burner of my own. Anonymous texts to old contacts, a PI from the halfway house network. Cheap but thorough. Photos arrived. Ethan at council meetings, schmoozing with the mayor's aide, Vanessa at galas. Arm candy with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. And buried deepest, the secret. Not just the heist.
The why.
Dad hadn't just died of the bottle. Ethan had pushed him, metaphorically, maybe literally, over the edge. Forged docs to siphon hospice funds. Left Dad to rot in a Medicaid ward. I'd taken the blame for that too, signing as power of attorney in a haze of grief, unaware of the double dip. Ethan had played me like a fiddle, strings tuned to loyalty. The night before the drive to Rita's, I packed light, jeans, a blouse that said respectable but haunted, and a thumb drive with Marco's files. No gun, parole violation city, but a recorder app on my phone, voice activated. This wasn't about violence, it was vivisection, laying bare the entrails for all to see. As dawn broke, gray and unforgiving, I stared at my reflection, 35 going on 60, lines etched by regret and resolve. For Dad, I whispered.
For me.
For the girl who'd believed in blood thicker than thieves. The farm loomed like a Norman Rockwell fever dream gone sour, silos silhouetted against a harvest moon, pickup trucks mud-splashed in the drive. Kinfolk milled, cousins in flannel. Aunts with Tupperware casseroles, air thick with cider and cigarette smoke. Rita hugged me fierce, her bosom a pillow of faded perfume.
Isla Gel.
We thought you'd ghosted us. No mention of the ink on my record. Family amnesia. Ohio style. Ethan spotted me from the porch. Vanessa at his elbow. Hand on her swelling belly, like a shield. His face, storm clouds gathering. What the hell are you doing here? Same as you, brother. Giving thanks. I brushed past, the crowd parting like Red Sea skeptics. Inside, the long table groaned under turkey and fixings. Grace said with eyes averted. I took my seat, unassigned, defiant, next to Cousin Lou, who clapped my shoulder like we'd never missed a beat. Toasts flowed, to health, to harvests, to absent souls. Then Ethan's turn. He rose, glass raised, voice honeyed venom. To new beginnings. And old lessons learned the hard way. Murmurs rippled. Eyes on me. I smiled, tight as a noose. Here, here. To truths that set you free or bury you. The table hushed. Vanessa's fork scraped china like nails on chalkboard. Ethan sat, but the game was on. Whispers during pie. Heard she did time. Robbery, they say. I let it simmer, planting seeds. Later, by the fire pit, embers spitting like accusations, I cornered him in the shadows of the barn. The box.
Ethan.
Keys in your desk. Or do I send Marco's affidavit to the feds? His laugh was low. Dangerous. Blackmail? From you? Classy. Pearly. Not blackmail. Justice. But his eyes, calculating, flipping like a coin, told me he'd anticipated this. You think you're the only one with moves? Vanessa knows everything. She's the real brains. And Emma. Well, blood's thicker, right? The twist of the knife. He'd use the kid. My niece. Innocent as driven snow. I walked away, heart pounding, but the plan held. Tomorrow, at dawn prayer, I dropped the bomb. The reunion would shatter, and with it, his empire. But as I lay in the guest room, quilts scratching like guilt, doubt crept in. Was this revenge? Or just trading one cage for another? The fire outside crackled, mocking my resolve. Dawn broke over Rita's farm like a hangover, pink-streaked sky bleeding into the fields, the air sharp with frost and unspoken dread. I hadn't slept, replaying Ethan's barb by the barn, bloods thicker. It was his oldest trick, weaponizing family like a blunt instrument. The thumb drive burned in my pocket, a talisman of truth or tinder for the blaze. Breakfast was communal chaos, flapjacks stacked high, bacon sizzling in cast iron, cousins bantering about combined yields and high school scandals. I played the part, smiling through gritted teeth, ladling syrup for Emma, who eyed me with wide-eyed curiosity. Antisla. Why daddies say you're not part of us? Kids, truth bombs wrapped in pigtails. Vanessa swooped in, scooping her up. Just grown-up talk, sweetie. Go chase fireflies with Uncle Ray. But her glance my way was steel, warning or weariness. Ethan was absent, tending to business in the den, phone glued to his ear like a tumor. I waited until Grace, Reverend cousin, held droning about forgiveness and prodigal sons.
Fitting.
As amens faded, I stood, voice steady as the Ohio River in flood. Before we dig in, a toast. To secrets. The kind that fester like gangrene until you cut them out. Muggs paused midair. Rita's brow furrowed.
Isla. Darlin'.
That's a mite morbid for Turkey Day. Not morbid. Necessary. I pulled the drive, holding it aloft like Lady Justice's scales. 8 years ago, my brother here convinced me to rob a wholesaler in Cleveland. Promised it'd save Dad's house. Instead, he ran, left me to rot. Thence the take, 200 grand in rocks, into his real estate scam. Proofs right here, ledgers.
Photos.
Witness statements from Marco Ruiz. Gasps rippled like wind through cornstalks. Lou choked on his coffee. Ethan's chair scraped back. He'd materialized in the doorway. Face ashen but composed. Lies.
Isla.
Desperate lies from a desperate woman. Desperate. I laughed, the sound echoing hollow. You forged Dad's will. Siphoned his meds money while I signed off blind. I took the heat for your greed. And Vanessa, you knew. Prenup buried it. But your emails sing like canaries. She flushed crimson, hand flying to her throat. You hacked us? That's illegal.
Pot. Kettle.
Sis-in-law. The room fractured, aunts murmuring prayers. Uncles shifting uncomfortably. Emma's lower lip trembling from the kids' table. Ethan stepped forward, voice a velvet blade. Enough. This is family, not a courtroom. You want to air dirty laundry? Do it in court. But threaten my wife, my child? That's crossing lines even you won't come back from. Crossing lines. The irony stung. But the seed was planted. Eyes on him now. Not me. Whispers built. Harper Homes. Those shady deals. Heard the council's auditing. Revenge's first bloom. Doubt. The day unraveled in eddies of avoidance. Football in the yard, where I tossed a spiral with Lou. His gruff, you okay? Kid, the closest to solidarity. Inside, Rita cornered me by the pie safe. Ethan's always been slippery as a gutted fish.
But you.
This fire in you, it's gonna burn us all. Maybe it needs to. But her hug lingered, maternal ache cracking my armor. By afternoon, the schism showed, half the kin orbiting Ethan with sympathetic clucks, the other half stealing glances my way, curiosity laced with pity. Vanessa vanished upstairs. Morning sickness, but I caught her on the landing. Phone to ear. Voice hushed. Yes. Lawyer. Injunction.
Now.
Schemer's wife. Through and through. Ethan played host. All charm and deflection, cracking jokes about my Hollywood heist tales, drawing laughs from the loyalists. But Marco's text buzzed my burner. Box raided last night. Empty. He moved it. Slippery indeed. Evening brought the bonfire. Flames leaping like accusations. Marshmallows toasting to a golden char. Guitars strummed old Hank Williams. Voices harmonizing in nostalgic slur.
Cette périphérie.
Nursing a root beer, parole purity, when Ethan slid beside me, reeking of scotch and strategy. You think this ends it? Exposes me. Vindicates you. It's a start. He chuckled. Low and bitter.
Nah.
You're the villain here.
Isla.
The bitter ex-con crashing the party. Dragging skeletons to the feast. They'll side with stability, wife.
Kid.
White picket fence. You're the chaos. He wasn't wrong. The firelight danced on faces turned his way. Warmth his shield. But I leaned in. Whisper sharp. Then why'd you forge the safety deposit receipt last week? PI photos don't lie. His flinch was microscopic.
But there.
Protecting what's mine. Like you should. Emma toddled over then. Sleepy-eyed. Clutching a singed stick.
Daddy.
Aunt Isla's sad. Make her happy. The kid's plea twisted us both. Ethan scooped her up. But his eyes on me screamed truce? I nodded. Fractional. For her. Night deepened. The house settling into snores and creaks. I slipped out to the porch. Stars pricking the velvet sky like guilty diamonds. Footsteps, Vanessa. Bundled in a robe. Vulnerability cracking her poise. He didn't tell me everything. Not at first. But I stayed for Emma. For the life we built. Built on lies. My voice cracked. Less venom. More weary. She lit a cigarette, contraband for the yoga mom, exhaling smoke like confession. You think revenge fixes it? I grew up in trailer trash hell.
Isla.
Clawed my way to this. Ethan's flawed. But he's mine. You blow it up. You orphan that girl. Orphan. The word landed heavy. Echoing Mom's ghost. He orphaned me first. We sat in silence. The farm's nocturnal symphony mocking our fracture. Crickets chirping verdicts. Wind rustling judgments. She stubbed the smoke. Standing. Think about it. Blood or not. You're all she's got. Her words burrowed. Doubt's roots spreading. Was I the betrayer now? Sacrificing niece for justice? The drive back to Columbus loomed. But so did the next move. Leak the files to the plain dealer. Anonymous tip. Watch the empire crumble from afar. But Ethan anticipated. As always. Morning brought cops, not feds. Local badges with Elmwood PD patches. Rita's kitchen, coffee cold. Faces grim. MS. Harper, need you to come down to the station. Questioning on harassment. Cybercrimes. Harassment? My laugh was incredulous. Ethan. In the corner. Feigning concern. Told you.
Cease.
Lines crossed. Vanessa's doing, that injunction morphing into cuffs. They Mirandized me polite-like. But the cruiser ride was humiliation redux, past cornfields staring judgment, to the station where I'd once been grilled post-heist. Interrogation. Two detectives. Coffee breath and skepticism. Your brother's filing a restraining order. Says you threatened his family. Hacked his accounts. Got evidence. I lawyered up, Public Defender 2.0. A kid fresh from Akron. But the drive's files? Encrypted. Backed up. Self-defense, I said. He owes me restitution. Civil suit pending. They release me by noon. Insufficient for arrest. But the damage? Ethan spin. Protective dad versus vengeful felon. Rita called as I hit the highway. Honey. They're rallying around him. Says you're unstable.
From the
time away. Unstable. The label stuck like tar. Back in Columbus. The halfway house buzzed with gossip, my counselor's arched brow at check-in. Rumination turning actionable?
bad. Isla.
Actionable. I hold up. Plotting phase 2. Marco's contact. The Chicago fence. A meet in a dive bar off I-71. Shadows thick as complicity. He was older.
Pauncher.
But the eyes shrewd.
Scarred.
Ethan's circling wagons. Hired muscle. Ex-cop named Hale. Means son of a bitch.
Hale.
I'd Google him later. Disgraced for brutality. Now private security for white-collar wolves. The box. I pressed. Relocated. But I got copies blurry, but damning. Serial numbers match the heist. He slid an envelope. Thick with printouts. Price. $5,000. Scraped from diner tips and a pawned heirloom necklace, Mom's. The last tether. As I drove away, envelope burning beside me. A tail. Black SUV.
Dated menace.
Hale? I lost him in traffic. Heart hammering. Paranoia or prudence? The line blurred further. Home, such as it was, brought a package, unmarked. Vanessa's handwriting. Inside. Ultrasound photo. A grainy blob labeled Baby Harper 2. Note, choose family.
Isla.
Or lose it all. Tears came then. Hot and unbidden. Not for Ethan. But the what-ifs, holidays whole. Emma calling me auntie without fear. The twist nod. Was revenge eroding me more than him? But the fire rekindled at the diner's next shift. A regular trucker's widow. Sharp as tacks. Overheard my mutterings. Men like that? They flip when cornered. Watch your back. Girl. Flipped. Ethan's tell. I texted Marco. Meet sooner. Bring heat. The plan evolved. Not just exposure, but extraction. Get the kids safe. Force a confession on tape. Controversial? Hell yes, kidnapping vibes. Even if cloaked as and stay out. But Emma's face in my mind. Innocent eyes. Begging for happy. 2 weeks later. Columbus Gray, with December threat. I tailed Ethan to a council lunch, neutral ground.
Public.
He emerged, schmoozing the mayor, but spotted me across the street. Freeze frame, brother versus Spectre. We met in a coffee shop. Hipster haven with pour-overs and passive aggression. Ceasefire, he offered, sliding a latte my way, oat milk. How thoughtful. For Emma. I sipped. Bitter as truth. Admit it. On record. I walk away clean. You keep your castle. His smile was a scalpel. Admit what? That you botched the job? Sure. But the rest, your delusion. Therapy.
Isla.
Get help. Delusion. The gaslight flickered. But I played the card. Hale sloppy. Tail's been made. Feds get a whiff. Your council buddies scatter.
Bluff.
Half true. His eyes narrowed. Flip one. Calculation to concession? What do you really want?
Money? Fine.
20K. Wired. Justice. But the offer tempted. Devil's bargain. American as apple pie. Buy off the conscience. We haggled. Voices low over steaming mugs. He flipped again. You're destroying us. Mom would hate this. Mom would have wanted truth.
Lie.
She'd have papered over. Midwestern grit. The meat ended stalemate. But seed sown. That night. Anonymous email to the plain dealer. Files attached. Family business subject. By morning, Ethan's phone blew up. Vanessa's frantic call. Articles live. Pullout. Revenge's second bloom. Headlines. Local broker tied to old heist. Sibling alleges fraud. Not front page, but viral in Elmwood's Facebook groups. Comments split. Team Ethan, family first. Justice for Eastlaw, expose the elite. I watched from the diner, flipping patties as the world divided. But Hale's SUV idled outside, warning. The game escalated. No quarter given. The article hit like a Molotov through Harper Home's bay windows. Protests by noon. Picketers waving signs. Thieves in suits. Ethan's empire teetered. Clients bailing like rats from a rusting hull. I kept my head down. Parole officer breathing fire over media entanglement, but the halfway house felt like a sieve. Leaks springing from envious eyes. Marco called. Fed sniffing. Your tip? Gold. But Ethan's raging, blaming you.
Me?
The weather.
Good.
Let him rage. I prepped for the endgame. A neutral drop. Cleveland's derelict warehouse district where the heist ghosts lingered. Invite. Anonymous note to Ethan's office.
Come alone.
Original box. Midnight.
Or feds get the rest.
Baited with a photo, blurry safe deposit slip. Time-stamped fresh. The night was Cuyahoga cold. Wind off the lake, whipping like accusations. I arrived early. Parked the Chevy in shadows. Recorder in pocket. Pepper spray tucked like a guilty secret. The warehouse loomed. Chain link rattling. Graffiti tags a testament to forgotten hustles. Footsteps echoed, Ethan. Punctual as paranoia. Overcoat flapping like bat wings.
Isla.
His voice bounced off concrete.
Hollow.
No hail yet. This circus ends tonight. Agreed. I stepped from darkness. Drive extended like olive branch or grenade. Confess. Tape rolls. We part ways. He laughed. Breath fogging. Confess to what? Your fever dream? Look around. This is where it started. You push for the score.
Remember?
Dad's dying.
Ethan.
We need cash. I humored you. Revisionist bullshit. But his eyes, flipping frantic, betrayed the lie. Humored? You planned it. Marco's your dog. Not mine. Mention of Marco flipped him. Rage to revelation. Marco's dead. The words dropped like lead. Overdose. Last week. Pills. Left a note. Sorry.
Isla.
Couldn't live with it.
Dead.
The air sucked out. Knees buckling. Marco, gruff lifeline. Reluctant confessor, gone.
Ethan's doing?
Or karma's crueler hand. You?
No.
But his flinch screamed complicity. He was cracking. Talking too much. I warned him. Warned. Euphemism for silenced. Nausea rose. Bile of betrayal. Monster. Sibling. He stepped closer. Shadows merging us. We did this together. You took the fall to protect me. Big sis move. Noble.
But now?
You're unraveling the thread that holds us. Unraveling. The metaphor stuck. Yarn of our lives tingling. But the recorder word. Capturing his slips. Admit the forgery. Dad's will. He hesitated, flipping to fatalism.
Fine.
I skimmed. $5,000. For seed money. You signed off, trusted me. Blind. Tears pricked. Hot traders. And the heist. Opportunity. Shrug. American pragmatism. We were drowning. You said yes.
Lie.
But half true, I nodded. Loyalty's noose. The warehouse groaned. Wind howling judgment. Sirens distant hail. Feds. Paranoia peaked. Then the twist. Headlights pierced the gloom. SUV growling to halt. Door slammed. Vanessa. Not Hale. Disheveled. Coat askew. Eyes wild. Ethan, the baby's coming. Now.
Now?
Premature storm. He froze. Brother to husband in a blink. Hospital. No time. She doubled. Pain etching. You did this. Both of you. Fighting like animals while I bleed.
Bleed.
The word visceral. No gore but implication heavy. I rush forward. Nurse instincts kicking despite rest.
Breathe.
How far? Contractions, 20 minutes. We need to go. But her glare pinned Ethan. She told me everything. In the car. The full confession. I recorded you threatening Marco. Flip supreme. Wife turns state's evidence. Ethan's face crumpled, calculation to collapse. Vanessa. No. Yes. Her voice steel through grimace. For the kids. For sanity. Sirens closer now, her call. 911 bait. Cops swarmed. Lights strobing the ruins. Elmwood PD. Feds in unmarked. Ethan cuffed. Sputtering denials. Vanessa whisked to ambulance. Me in the melee. Recorder surrendered as evidence.
Station again.
But flip script. I was witness. Not suspect. Detectives, harder-edged this time, grilled gentle. You set the trap. Smart. But risky. Entrapment vibes. Justice. But as ink dried on statements. Doubt flooded. Marco dead. Baby incoming amid chaos. Was this victory or venom? Rita fetched me at dawn. Her Oldsmobile rumbling like reluctant forgiveness. You broke him.
Girl.
But fixed nothing. The drive home. Silence thick. Fields blurring. Elmwood buzzed. News trucks at Harper Homes. Scandal rocks local dynasty. Ethan arraigned. Fraud. Conspiracy. The heist reopened. Bail denied. Flight risk. Vanessa texted from hospital. Boy.
Healthy.
Emma asks for you. Attachment. Photo. Tiny fist curled defiant. I visited 2 days later. Sterile halls echoing my old nightmares. Emma, in the waiting room. Coloring superheroes. Capes billowing over ruins. Aunt, Isla. Mommy says you're a hero. Hero.
Kid logic.
Pure as snow. Vanessa. Propped in bed. Babe at breast. Looked wrecked but resolute. Divorcing him. Custody battle ahead.
You.
Thank you.
Or curse you.
Jury's out. Curse. The word lingered. Ethan's lawyer called next. Plea deal brewing. Finger pointing at Marco's ghost. But the real flip? His letter. Smuggled via Rita. You win.
Sis.
But we both lose. Blood's curse. Not thicker.
Curse.
American Gothic. Our saga. Weeks ground on hearings, depositions, my nursing research flickering on horizon, irony's gift. Protests evolved to podcasts, Harper Heist trending in true crime circles. Readers split, me the avenging angel or vengeful harpy. Ethan's fans decried sibling sabotage, mine hailed whistleblower grit. Controversies coin. Flipping endless. I moved to a studio in Columbus, parole upgraded. Halfway goodbye. Diner quit for CNA gigs. Hands healing again. Emma visits. Weekends at the park. Swings creaking confessions. Daddy's in timeout, she says. Matter of fact. Like when I draw on walls.
Timeout.
Kid euphemism for bars. Vanessa co-parents distant. Her brokerage rebranded sans Harper. But the twist brewed in shadows. Hail. Unpaid. Vengeful. Late night call. Your brothers lighten my wallet. Pay up or else. Extortions echo. I paid scant savings but reported. Feds netting him in a sting. Small win.
Pyrrhic.
Climax crested at sentencing. Federal court. Toledo's marble mausoleum. Ethan in orange. Shackles clinking like bad karma. I testified. Truth unvarnished. Voice steady. His eyes met mine. Not hate, but hollow. Why? Isla. For Dad. For us. Judge's gavel. 10 years. Concurrent with appeals. No slap. The system's rare bite. Outside. Rain lashed biblical. Rita waited. Umbrella shared. Happy or hollow?
Both.
The revenge catharsis evaporated fast, leaving ash. Spring thawed Ohio grudgingly. Mud sucking at tires like reluctant memory. A year post-sentencing. Elmwood felt alien. Harper Home shuddered. For sale signs mocking the empire's fall. I nurse full-time now. Shifts at Riverside General where beeps and bandages drown doubts. Emma's artwork cluttered my fridge. Stick figure families. Me with cape. Ethan with question mark. Vanessa thrived solo. Boutique agency booming on scandal's coattails. Empowered estates. Tagline winking at reinvention. Ethan wrote monthly. Prison stationery. Penitent scrawl. Therapy's a bitch.
Sis.
Seeing the flips now, my disease. Flips his crutch. Diagnosis or dodge. I replied sporadic, forgiveness fractional. Like piecing stained glass from shards. The reunion that sparked it all? Rita's annual.
Sans drama mandat.
I went. Armored in sundress and skepticism. Kinfolk warmer. Hugs tentative. Toasts laced with proud of you. Lou clapped my back. Tough broad. Like your ma. No mention of bars. Selective amnesia. Survival's bomb. But the bomb dropped casual. Over potato salad. Cousin Hal. Reverend turned sleuth. Ethan's appealing. New evidence says you coerced Marco's statement. And that note?
Suicide.
Sure. But toxicology screams foul. Someone dosed him.
Foul.
The word chilled coleslaw to ice. My fork paused.
Who?
Anonymous tip. Points to you. Bitter sister settling scores.
Me?
The flip cosmic. Revenger to reviled. Eyes turned. whispers reigniting. Rita's face, pity fractured. Isla? Innocent, swear on mom's grave. But doubt's venom spread. Parole officers call next day. Hearing rumors. Stay clean. Media circled. Heist sister in news scandal? Comments feral, framing Ethan. Karma's bitch. Vanessa pulled Emma's visits. Until cleared. Isolation's echo. Bars invisible but ironclad. I hired the kid lawyer, now seasoned, dug into the tip. Trail led to Ethan? Prison calls logged. To Hale. Pre-sting. Finish it. Transcript read. But Hale flipped in plea. Boss man, your brother, paid extra. Frame the sister. Muddy waters. Muddy. Ethan's last gambit. From Stripes. Confession smuggled. One more flip.
Isla.
To survive appeal. Forgive?
No.
But understanding crept. Insidious. We were mirrors, schemes born of same scarred soul. The hearing, circus redux. Courtroom packed with true crime gawkers. Feds dismantled the frame. Hale's testimony. Ethan's calls. Judge dismissed. Scolding frivolous. But damage lingered. Trust's corpse. Rotting. Outside. Ethan via video link, thinner. Eyes haunted. Twist enough? We're poison. Sis. Both. Detox possible? My voice cracked. First thaw. Maybe. His shrug. Pixelated. Emma needs aunts. Uncles too. Uncles. Plural. The final flip. Not just his. But ours. Family's hydra. Heads regrowing twisted. Ending? No tidy bow. I visited him monthly now. Plexiglass barrier thawing to banter. Emma bridged. Daddy says sorry. With sprinkles. Cupcakes smuggled. Contraband sweetness. Vanessa and I, allies uneasy. Co-ants at recitals where Emma pirouettes. Oblivious to undercurrents. Harper name? Scrubbed. But echoes in headlines. Podcast debating. Was Isla hero or heel? Listeners split eternal. Justice's curse. Controversy's gift.
Me?
I live middling. Nursing shifts blending into sunsets over Scioto River. Where barges haul regrets downstream. Revenge's aftertaste. Bittersweet. Like black coffee laced with regret. Dad's grave tended. Weeds pulled. Whispers of we tried. Was it worth it? The empire crumbled. Truth's bared. But fractures permanent, blood thinner than water. Viscous with venom. Happy? In glimpses, Emma's laugh. Ethan's humbled nod. Tragic? In shadows, Marco's ghost. Vanessa's guarded eyes. My own mirrored flips. America's rhythm. Rise. Fall. Remix. We Harpers dance at jagged. Steps out of sync but stubborn. The gun at the temple? Lowered. But loaded still. And in quiet nights. Rain sheeting windows like tears unshed. I wonder, who pulled the trigger first? The end? Open mic. Debate invited. You decide, redemption or ruin.